And now, coming to you live from Studio B in beautiful downtown Paris, Tennessee, My Paris TV and Paris Production Studios presents Keel Media Network's #1 rated program, The Mike Weatherford Show. Now here is your host, Mike Weatherford.
Welcome to the Mike Weatherford Show. I'm your host tonight, Patrick Smith. Mike Weatherford is off training more monkeys and found one to set in here tonight. So we're going to be filling in for him. I've got a good co-host with me tonight. Mr. David Tater Hayes will be joining me. Tonight, though, we're going to be talking about Bicoin with Stan Dunagan. He's going to be here giving us the ups and the downs and what is a Bitcoin, how many bits make a coin. I've been wondering about that. Next week, our upcoming shows are going to be with Mr. Terry Wimberly from BPU. We'll be talking about these high electric bills that have been going on. Is it because it's summertime or is it because it's been passed through? What's going on? Always we'll have Inflation Buster on coming up week 6 next week. We'll have Inflation Buster as well on this show. Then on the 30th, we're going to have Mr. Dan Knowles. He will be talking about the banjo, giving us a little history about how our music came to us. And we're also going to have another musician on the show. We'll have special guest, Mr. Rockin' Randall French. And then we move over to September 6th. We'll have Mr. David Hawks. He'll be here with representing the Rolling Thunder. And I want to hear a little bit about that in a minute. I think Tater's gotten hooked up with those guys and have actually ridden with them. Then after that, we're going to pick back up on a little bit of debate. Coming on the McKenzie mayoral race, we'll have the candidates for mayor from the city of McKenzie on October 11th. So that's our upcoming shows over the next few weeks. And we will be doing this right here. The Inflation Buster continues, sponsored from Landmark Realty. What we want to do is we want to put this number out here to you guys early. Tater, we want them to call in whenever they see this come up. We're going to do it a little different this time, a little later in the show. But you know, if I was you, get that $100 bill that Mike and Landmark Realty's got out there dangling for everybody. So
week 5.
That's it. Week 5. We got 7 more weeks. If that's my math, that works. So there we go. That's what you're going to be seeing tonight. We're going to be talking with Mr. Stan Dunagan here in a little bit. But before we do that, I want to move over here, talk to my very special co-host, Mr. Tater Hayes. How are you, sir?
Doing all right. How you doing?
Man, I'm good. So we're up here doing this. We got Mike out of the way finally.
Well, I tell you, he's not training monkeys.
No.
I saw him leaving the shop this afternoon, and he had a bikini on when he got in his truck. So I don't know if he's going to the beach or the swimming pool. I'm not sure what he was doing, but didn't look like he had monkeys on his mind anyway.
No. Well, you know, he talks about you being the guinea pig. And
I am.
And what happened?
I'm scared about that too because we got this bull blast thing coming up, and I'm like, there's no telling where this is going. This bullfighting thing.
Well, I mean, I'm with you on that.
Maybe I can throw some bitcoins at it and run while
I don't know. You might be able to.
I don't know.
But you know, you've got a lot of things that you've been doing though lately.
Man,
I mean,
you
have been busy. I saw you this weekend. I've seen you all over Facebook. I see you. You know, now I'm going to be seeing you on the news in the newspaper probably. Right? You're going to be corrupting the county government up there and or straightening it out. One
I
of
don't
them.
know if I'm going to corrupt it.
What-
I just want to try to be a part of it.
Yeah. Well, I think that there needs to be a bubble put back there behind where y'all sit, and we need a Mike Weatherford camera or less up there, because I can't wait to see how this new commission comes together. This is a big turnover.
I think it's going to be exciting. Yeah, there was but keep in mind there were 7 good people coming off of that board that have served our county well over the years.
Yeah.
So I'm not going in it looking like I'm trying to replace somebody or trying to, reinvent the wheel, man. I've got between 300 and 3,500 people in my district, and that's who I want to represent, and I want to make sure that their voice is heard. And the other two, Mr. Carter and Mr. Humphreys, that are in my district, I've talked to them, and totally that's my goal right there, is to represent my people the best way I can, and make sure their voices are heard, and
I am proud.
Try to move things forward.
Yeah, and I am proud of what you're doing, and you, David, and because you did some other things this weekend. I mean, that's why I wanted to kind of give you a little bit of a pat. You've been charitable with your time.
Well, we went out to the other day. I was up at Mike's, and we were sitting around shooting a breeze, and Mr. David Hawks came in, and he's one of the members of the Rolling Thunder, which is a big national organization, and they represent POWs and victims. And their main thing is, nobody needs to be forgotten, and nobody left behind. Mm-hmm. And he was having their second annual ride out of Martin, Tennessee, and he asked if I said, I just spoke up when I heard what he was talking about.
The rides are Harleys and or just anything.
There was 3-wheelers. They had some vehicles and not 3-wheeler like dirt bikes, but 3 big fancy, big nice ones.
Because I want those Honda 110s.
No,
awesome.
not like that. No,
those were the best.
Do you have one?
Badass.
When we started talking about it, we were just going to meet them because they came through Como, and we were just going to pick up there and follow them. But then I talked to one of my guys that had been last year, and they have a little program beforehand, and we went over there and watched that. Got to talk to a lot of the veterans over there, and their focus this time was on World War II veterans. Mm-hmm. And one thing I learned out of that was there's only a little over 200,000 World War II veterans left in the country.
Wow.
That's still living.
Phenomenal.
Here's the phenomenal number about that, though. They're dying at a rate of 235 a day.
That's tragic.
So
that's tragic.
If you see a World War II veteran, shake his hand, hug his neck, because in another couple of years there will be none left. And when you think about that, it'll kind of set you on your seat there for just a minute.
It's a sobering thought, for sure.
Especially when they were giving this, and I'm not going to tell the statistics. I don't want to blow his show up out of the water either. But when y'all hear his show when he's on here and he tells about how many millions of people fought in World War II from America, it's like I mean, it kind of set me back there a little bit.
Yeah. Well, you did some other stuff this weekend. You hosted another event or helped with another event, didn't you?
What did I do?
You did something else.
Oh yeah, the next day we just that was just an old homeboy ride. The next day on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just got out and just rode.
Didn't you do something for cancer though? Didn't you?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that too, man. That was after.
Yeah. You did a lot over this weekend. You were everywhere. Every time I turned around, there you were.
I double booked myself.
Yeah.
On relay night, and thank goodness for all the girls on that crew right there.
Oh man. They had it running.
They had it going, didn't they? I mean, look,
they did. They did a great job.
Mr. Harold Plumley told me a long time ago to surround yourself with smart people.
Yeah.
And they'll make you look good. And that's what I've tried to do.
And smart. Well, you picked smart and pretty.
Yep.
So you checked 2 boxes with that one.
And so, yeah, man, we had that Relay for Life thing raised close to $7,000, I think.
Yeah.
So, and y'all's table showed out real good. The Mike Weatherford Show represented and had the most tips. And
he worked for those tips.
Yeah, y'all were wearing him out, man.
He was a celebrity, right? That was the point of it. It was a celebrity waiters, and there was several of them out there. We had our trustee had a table, and some of the other businesses had tables, groups.
It was probably 15 or 20. I can't remember exactly how it is. I can't even remember. I can't even remember where I was at, so I sure can't remember the number. But it was all good.
Mike, he was really working hard and wanted to work. He wanted to work hard. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
He
wasn't going. Y'all wasn't going to break him. I know that much. He was already expecting it. Yeah.
Just garçon, come on.
Yeah. I gave you saying, Hansel said, "Hey, can you put some bacon bits on my wife's salad?"
I did.
That sort of thing. Yeah, y'all treated him bad.
But we raised some money, which was fun. We raised money, and that's the point of those events. For Relay for Life, for cancer survival. Was that the cancer? Which one was
Relay
it?
for Life.
It was Relay for Life.
Cancer.
Yeah.
American Cancer Society. He didn't have any choice but to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I called him and said, "You're going to be a celebrity waiter," and he said, "I guess you're right."
Yeah.
Because I've lie detector test. I rode a bull backwards.
You've paid your dues.
So he really couldn't.
CBD.
Yeah, CBD. He couldn't. Yeah, that. Yeah, he couldn't back out on that.
No.
He had to go.
Yeah, but it was a great event, and having him to torment.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
made it even better. Oh man, the fair's coming up. The fair is coming to town.
Yeah, I think it's here.
And it's not like just the carnival. You don't just have a ride. There's all sorts of stuff when the fair comes to town. And one of the things that is going to be coming up soon, and I know Stan is participating in it a lot, and his children, and I don't know about you, I never did, but the junior livestock.
Yeah, no, I haven't ever participated in that. I've gone out there and helped, a few times. Matter of fact, I went out there and helped them with the demolition derby one time. But no, I've never participated in the livestock thing.
Yeah.
But that is a real big, big deal, and
those.
Really a jewel in the crown of Henry County.
It absolutely is. Those kids, they love on those animals, and when I say love on them, they shampoo them and they sleep with them. They just take such good care of them, and they learn a tremendous amount through that whole process. And
I personally couldn't do that.
Yeah,
after spending that much time with it,
Oh
I
my
just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
I don't know how they part with them.
Yeah.
And they do it all the way up as they win too. As they continue to go up, and in some of them they go to the state fair and everything, and then at some point they have to part. But the kids learn so much, and it raises so much money for scholarships for them, and teach them about agriculture. Basic money management. That's right. Those kids are out there at an early age learning about different types of currency, learning about how to be responsible.
If I was guessing, I would probably say that grand champion might probably come in close to $15,000 to $20,000.
We were talking about it because we're going to be buying
about $10 or some dollars a pound, and it's 1,300, 1,400 pounds. That's pretty good.
I bought
pretty good money for a kid and their scholarships and stuff.
I bought a chicken not too long ago for $5,000 at the O'Brien County Fair. It was a chicken, and I thought I was going to get to eat it, Tater. I thought that, it was
I'm
a chicken.
I'm not going to tell you what I'm thinking right now.
It was a chicken, and I thought, okay, like the Henry County Fair or any of these where the kids finally, you get to process it. You send it to Yoder's, and it's over with and everything. But I thought that chicken was going to go home with me, and it didn't. And I felt so sad because it didn't go home with me. And but yeah, that was.
I can remember when I was younger that the Mr. Jim Adams.
I wasn't that young. This wasn't very long ago.
He used to buy the Grand Champion.
Yeah,
and would
he
put
did.
it in his store.
Yeah,
and that was always cool for the kids. Yeah, he would always. I mean, every
Yes.
year you could count on Mr. Jim Adams was going to buy the Grand Champion, and then
I
he would
forgot
take
about
it to his
that.
store, and they would have a display there where you could come by and buy it right there at his grocery store.
As a kid, just as a kid, I thought about how awesome it was, and those kids that would sell that stuff would get them a new pickup truck, and I thought, wow, they are really working and have made something out of something kind of similar to what we're going over tonight. Seems to, but anyway, the fair is starting this weekend, and along with the fair, we are going to have something that is going to be super cool, y'all. We are going to have ultimate bullfighting. Tater, have you seen this ultimate bullfighting stuff?
I'm afraid I'm probably going to before it's over with.
Oh, we can only hope. I don't know.
You got a video or something we'll
We
see
do
that,
have a
do you?
video. It's this Saturday, August 20th, ultimate bullfighting's at the Henry County Fairgrounds, and you can get tickets at the chamber office. And take a look at this. We'll take a look, see how the action is on what it is that we're going to be getting to experience whenever the bull riders come to town. So there you go. Let's take a look and
Don't miss a new event at the Henry County Fair, August 20th. Shamrock's Ultimate Bullfighters. Freestyle bullfighting and a mutton-busting competition. Ultimate Bullfighters, or UBF, was created over a decade ago to promote the sport of freestyle bullfighting, a derivative of Western sports and rodeo. Sponsored by Shamrock Dirt and Forestry. They're locally owned and excited to bring this event to you. Unlike traditional bullfighting, the animals are not harmed. Don't miss this great family event. Also, go to Shamrock Dirt and Forestry's website for more information and check out their Refer Event program. Buy tickets at the Paris Henry County Chamber of Commerce.
Well, two things I got from that.
that you needed one, you need a chiropractor.
One, I used to have a shirt just like the guy had on the picture.
Yeah.
That same color and everything back in the day. Two, that's where I'm drawing the line in the sand.
Yeah, I was thinking
backwards.
chiropractor the whole
And,
time.
I'm not going to do that. No. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
I fight bulldozers, not bulls with tails.
Oh, good one. There you go.
So
yeah.
Yep. He's going to maybe you might be the new guinea pig.
No. Hey, you said you got 3/4 of a sandwich? These
did.
were delicious. Look at these sandwiches that are here for us tonight. Look at that. Yeah. They fed the entire crew, brought us and guests. This is from GG Sandwiches, brand new business here in Paris, Tennessee, located right over off of Brewer Street. So not too far over. They've got their menu here, and there we go. Delicious. You can visit them at 104 South Brewer Street here in beautiful downtown Paris, Tennessee. GG's Picnic Basket. There's the number 731-514-5764. And they'll be open to the public by the end of the month. Soup, so we had some pasta salad and different types of wraps here. It's something that downtown needs, and it's really right over there across from Mike's shop. So I expect, yeah, Mike will be over
Man,
there.
I tell you what we need to do.
Tell me.
We need to hit up some sponsors and get to talk about this Bitcoin, man. I'm excited about hearing about this because,
There we go.
I'm always ready to get educated on stuff, especially when I'm stupid about it.
Yeah,
So
that's it. We're gonna take a break. We're gonna run sponsors, and come back and
talk to Mr. Stan. I'm ready.
all right, y'all have. We'll be right back.
This presentation of the Mike Weatherford Show is being brought to you by
With a new name and a new location, Paris Power Sports is now Paris Outdoor Power. What's not changing, though, is the same great quality service and commitment to your satisfaction. Leading the area since 2016 as your bad boy and skag mower dealer, Paris Outdoor Power will continue to proudly bring only the best in outdoor equipment, including now TYM tractors, as well as outstanding, reliable service that is centered on and committed to creating long-lasting relationships. Come see our new showroom today, Paris Outdoor Power. Mow with an attitude and power on.
Take Me Back Cafe. Delicious home-cooked family-style meals in a nostalgic, warm, and inviting atmosphere. Take Me Back Cafe. Great for the entire family.
And the attorneys at Hawley & McAdams, who with over 90 years of combined experience pride themselves in competent, thorough representation, utilizing their vast experience in a broad array of practice areas. Voted favorite law firm in the 14th Annual Reader's Choice Award, Hawley & McAdams are proud and honored to serve you.
Shattering the image of standard nursing homes and committed to enhancing the human spirit, Charter Senior Living of Paris is focused on removing barriers that can prevent your success and a better life. A unique boutique community with many wonderful amenities, we offer various levels of quality care in an apartment and floor plan of your choosing. Learn more and request your free resource guide at charterparis.com or give us a call today. When physical assistance becomes a necessity, enjoy the peace of mind you deserve. The decision to buy or sell a home can be a difficult one, and it's important to have someone you can trust during that process. Landmark Realty is that someone, committed to serving you and to building solid, long-lasting relationships. Our experienced real estate agents with established professional networks work hard to help you find your perfect dream home. Browse our wide variety of homes at landmarkrealtytn.com or stop in at either of our 2 locations in Camden or Paris. Don't live in the past. Let Landmark move you into your future.
Whether it's real estate, business, criminal, or family law, civil litigation, estate planning, or even personal injury, attorneys Andy Clark, and Chad Cox of Clark & Cox PLLC provide the experience and trusted representation that you're looking for. A long-standing Paris PI Reader's Choice favorite, Clark & Cox address your legal issues using the team approach, setting into motion a strong and highly competent and capable staff to assist you with all your legal needs. To find out more about how we can help you, visit clarkandcoxlaw.com or call us at 731-642-4446.
L.I. Smith & Associates, a full-service engineering and surveying company that combines 40 years of industry expertise with new cutting-edge technology to provide innovative solutions to real-world problems. Headquartered in Paris, the professionals at L.I. Smith are dedicated to providing high-quality surveying and civil engineering services throughout Henry County and the surrounding region. L.I. Smith & Associates, industry expertise, innovative solutions, and community-focused. 54 Fuel Mart, a great place to eat with friendly staff and some of the best gas prices in town. Stop in for a bite to eat or get treated like family. That's 54 Fuel Mart, 1213A West Wood Street in Paris.
Welcome back to the Mike Weatherford Show. I'm your host tonight, Patrick Smith, along with my co-host here beside me, Mr. David Tater Hayes.
How you doing?
We are holding down the fort here on the Mike Weatherford Show, and tonight we're going to be talking about Bitcoin and everything about Bitcoin. Hopefully, it's a lot about Bitcoin. All of it that I don't know. I'm not a Bitcoiner. I'm not privy to everything, but the man that is sitting right over here beside us, and his name is Mr. Stan Dunagan. He is a resident here in Henry County, Tennessee. He's from Martin, Tennessee, and he's majored in just about everything, I think. Is that right?
For a short time. I
kept
changing my mind.
Yeah, kept changing his mind. And
That tells you something about him, though.
yeah, he's well versed. That's what it says. Kind of like me. I took 7 years to make it through college, and it wasn't because I switched majors at all. But that's different. But he ended up getting his PhD from Rocky Top in geology. He's married to the beautiful Dr. Dunagan, Dr. Stephanie Dunagan, and resides here. And he is currently has the position of being the managing partner for Southern Crypto. So, without further ado, I wanted to get that title in.
Okay.
Because that
sounds
was
very official.
That was the one that really tied it down for me there, Stan. My good friend, Mr. Stan Dunagan. How are you, sir?
I'm glad. I'm thrilled to be here, man.
Are you? It is. This is great. I have been looking forward to this because it's a privilege to me.
Well, I'm glad you feel that way. I'm looking forward to talking about it. I love talking about Bitcoin and just what it is, because you hear a lot of things on the news. A lot of it's bad, and there's a reason why you hear that. I think so on the news. People like to spread bad news about things that are a threat often.
Yeah. Well, that's true. We mock what we don't understand a lot of times, and of course now. We were talking at the beginning of this about riding motorcycles, and you say you got a new seat?
Yeah, I need to get home and see it. But this is I want to find out.
You're in your new seat. No,
I'm in my.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I do have a new seat. Yeah.
So Tater, how'd you pay for that? Did you pay cash, gold,
actually
credit card,
debit card? Yeah.
Debit card. Okay. So, I mean, why is that money?
I don't know. Why is it?
What? I mean, people used to get paid.
What do you mean? Why is it money? With a debit card?
I mean, back in the old days, you would have paid basalt, right? I mean, that's how they paid people, because that was hard to get a hold of, and that was something that was considered a value, as a scarce resource, and really, in many ways, it was a commodity. And I brought some foreign currency. I've got,
which looks like play money.
I mean, yes, it's plastic.
Look at
But that's New Zealand. That's $5 for New Zealand.
See right through that.
Here's 2,000 Costa Rican banknotes.
2,000
colognes.
It doesn't look any different, really.
And then, really, there's a $5 U.S. note.
Other than,
I mean, we recognize
how do we know like the difference between $2 million and $5 and which one? What the value? Because really, when I look at it, it's just a representation, right?
Right. And so he was able to really pay using what we would call, I don't want to say bank money, but because he used his debit card, so he has credit with the bank, and that's fine. That money that I just passed out, would be considered fiat money.
Yeah.
So the value of that is not
fiat.
So basically, the entity that produced that money says it has that value. That it really has, $5 worth of paper or less. I brought
I don't know. It worked pretty good. I was at the end of the line. Yeah. Appreciate y'all.
Now, so he's been prepping for that seat for so long. He knew how this.
Well, worked. I'm not going to pass the silver coin or the gold coin down.
That's smart. It didn't take him long, Tater, to figure out.
When he was talking about the salt, they also used metals like gold and silver too.
And because these were hard to produce, it took work, and that is one thing that we'll talk about eventually with Bitcoin. There's lots of cryptocurrencies out there. There's over 15,000, and there's probably 14,999 that aren't worth much. In terms of
it is a lot. It's a lot to negotiate, and it's a lot to even think about in my head. Do I go down a rabbit hole and follow Bitcoin? Do I go down a rabbit hole and follow another cryptocurrency and everything? That's a big confusing nightmare, it seems like.
There are all sorts of projects, and just like almost anything, personally, I would want to put my time and effort into something that was kind of had a track record and had something behind it, as opposed to more of a concept. And a lot of these cryptocurrencies are more of a concept, or they're simply almost literally a, copy and paste of something else. And so what makes Bitcoin different and maybe makes it considered to be more money is that all of these things, whether it's, gold and silver coins or the fiat currency down there, that is something that's accepted as a medium of exchange.
Just stay with acceptance. Why change? Because for most of us, currency is what we're used to. We're used to being able to touch it, see it, and we can bury it in the backyard. We can do whatever we want with it.
Lots of people do that.
Yeah, and I've kind of gone cashless with my debit card already. I don't see.
And nobody carries gold and silver coins
no,
around.
I got my license on one side and my debit card, and that's it. So I am. What about you? You probably got a bunch of $100 bills folded up.
Several hundred of them. Yeah.
Yeah, but are you cash?
No, I do both actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do both.
And so that cash or your credit account with the bank, that represents how much time and work that you've put in, that you've been paid.
Yeah.
And Bitcoin was another, but the problem is that, if you wanted to pay me for something, you have to give me that money that was produced by another entity, or your debit card involves somebody else, the bank or Visa. Or if you want to send money to somebody, that involves somebody else. The beautiful thing about Bitcoin is it's me and you. Nobody else, no middleman.
No.
And, there's maybe a time and place for a middleman. But the thing is...
what's the difference in that and cash?
Well,
Explain
the federal
that again.
government, the federal government produces cash.
The federal government produces cash.
Well,
Okay.
Hey, Kevin, why don't you throw up number one here for us?
You got some.
And so,
you brought some slides in.
Yeah, and so this is going to give us. It shows the U.S. debt clock that was this morning.
Okay.
And so as of this morning, we were about $30 trillion in U.S. liabilities.
Okay.
And with a federal budget of $4 trillion. And so my point there is the federal government, 85%. Yes, 85% of all money has been created over the last 22 years.
But don't we just go kick somebody's butt and get some more territory and some plunder, and then we can
tell me the
balance
last.
that back
No
up?
offense, but tell me the last country we've kicked their butt.
Well, I don't know. That's a good point. Yeah, we're not able to go out and conquer anything anymore.
We gotta. Go ahead.
No,
I was going to say, before you tell us exactly what it is, who started it?
Yeah.
Where
Okay.
did it come from?
It's attributed to someone named Satoshi Nakamoto.
Satoshi. Okay.
Okay. So it's thought that person was a Japanese computer scientist. We're not sure if this was one person, if this person was male or female, or a group of people. But that's the person who produced a paper back in 2008 and said, hey, let's have this way to electronically pay each other if we want to without anybody else involved. And that's nice. We could pay each other with silver, but still somebody has to mint this. And we have to agree that I didn't counterfeit this and just paint this gray, or I didn't spray this gold coin yellow or something like that.
Well, this invisible person or whoever, I mean, really from what I've read, they don't really know anything about it other than this name. He holds the biggest percentage of the
Right.
Bitcoins.
So this person, hey, if you can go to number 4 real fast, Kevin, wrote this paper at the end of 2008, and that's not important. Let's see. That'll work. He wrote this paper at the end of 2008, and he said, hey, let's put together this concept where computers can talk to each other, and they're going to, instead of producing an infinite amount of money, we're going to actually make a ledger. We're going to write down, and as opposed to writing it all down, we're going to store it electronically, and that anybody can come see it. If you're a criminal and you ask to be paid in Bitcoin, you're absolutely stupid, because it's public.
You know where
anybody
can just look.
Yes, and say what they can say is that the money went from this wallet to that wallet. Now, if the wallet's anonymous, then they may not know.
They may not be able to know,
but they can
have
trace
any
it, and
money. But
FBI is getting better at tracing that.
So you can go in and somewhere and type in Stan Dunagan, and there's something that will pull up that says
Actually, no.
You've never tried a transaction.
I've done plenty of transactions, but you have to know my wallet address. I have to give that to you.
So it's like a password into the safe.
Kinda. That's how it works.
Sort of. One person owns it.
And so the thing with Bitcoin is now you've got a way in which what would be considered hard money, like gold and silver. But in this way, that's kind of an old way in which we do money, because no one wants to carry around gold and silver. This way, Bitcoin is more hard money, but it's money that's digital, so that you can carry it on your phone or your watch.
It's portable.
It's infinitely more portable than carrying around thousands of dollars of gold coins.
But if I'm not mistaken, you're limited on how much you can carry around at any one time. Like I couldn't carry my entire Bitcoin fortune.
You could carry hundreds of millions of dollars in Bitcoin.
But I could carry my.
Well, there's only 21
I could carry one.
million
Wait a minute.
Bitcoins,
Wait a minute.
isn't
I
there?
could carry. Hold on. I could carry. I think he said hundreds of millions.
Yeah, sure.
I could carry hundreds of millions of dollars of my fortune in Bitcoin around.
But
I don't have a.
Well, this
I don't have it
sounds
yet,
like
but I'm
not
waiting.
Whatever supposed
I'm
to be
looking forward to
like
it.
billions of dollars.
So
And he
Satoshi Nakamoto, when he set up the original computers to do the mining and that we'll talk about, he was the original one that set it up, and eventually, got some other cyber geeks to come on board and say, hey, download this, run this code. Let's let these computers talk to each other. They'll start to generate some Bitcoin this way, and we can do some little transactions. And he has anywhere between 1 million and 1.6 million Bitcoin. And he has the big thing is, since nobody knows, that the way in which you actually prove you're Satoshi Nakamoto is you do move some Bitcoin from that wallet. If that ever happens, people will go crazy, because then we know that Satoshi's still alive.
Haven't been heard of since 2010, is my understanding.
I think 2011, but yeah, basically he's kind of said, all right, I got this project going.
He's
Y'all,
a mystery man.
or person or woman.
Look, y'all throw $1 million in my pocket, you probably won't see me either.
No, I don't think
Well,
so.
at
Yeah.
roughly $23,000 per Bitcoin, if you've got 1 million Bitcoin, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's
yeah.
3 more
Here's
zeros.
my question
Yeah.
about what you just said there,
Yeah.
because a couple of weeks ago they were $29,000 a
Yeah.
Bitcoin. So I'm going to use this as an example. If this is a Bitcoin and this is a $5 bill, well, this is actually a $5 bill. Yesterday this was worth 29. Today it's worth 23. This is still worth 5 every day.
Except for the inflation part.
Yeah, but inflation is the same for this too.
No, it's not. Because there's a maximum amount of Bitcoin that there will ever be. And that's what makes it beautiful. He said that there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin, and it's produced at a certain rate. The federal government produces dollars at whatever rate that their fiscal monetary policy is out of control.
Okay, so I'm going to try to simplify this. I'm going to go buy a bag of sugar at Walmart.
Sure.
And I'm going to pay $5 for it.
Okay.
Okay, I want to go to Walmart and buy $5 worth of sugar with my Bitcoin.
Sure.
So is this going to make this a 0.999 value? That
So
if you took $5 away from my 23,000,
right.
this isn't a complete Bitcoin anymore.
So the value of Bitcoin is volatile. Nope,
It is
no,
very
no.
volatile, sounds
But somebody told me I need to say I'm not a certified public accountant. I'm not a certified financial planner and advisor and stuff. This is all for entertainment purposes.
Your PhD
I
is in
personally,
geology.
yeah. Don't believe anything I say. Bitcoin, I personally don't think it's risky. I like the fact that it is very well defined on how it's going to behave and how much is going to be produced. The price is volatile. I'll give you that. But for me, I'm okay with that.
You don't
because I
mind
think
that
with
risk.
time, that volatility is going to be much reduced.
my 401k is volatile.
Yeah, there's a lot of volatility, but there's
not in the right way right now either.
Yeah.
Drastic swings in it. When you say volatile, I think I saw somewhere in 2014 in one day the price dropped by 80%.
Yeah, and back in November of 2021, we touched right at $69,000 per Bitcoin, and it dropped down to around $19,000 a few weeks ago, and it's come up to about $24,000 again.
So is that volatility? I've seen that it's caused by tweets. What's it caused by? What causes the volatility?
It's the same volatility. To some extent, it's the same volatility where you see markets moving and stuff like that. I saw something where JP Morgan posted, they've said something like the stock market, bear market is now done.
You have to have confidence in it. You have to have confidence in, and isn't that really what the old greenback there that we're talking about has?
Right.
Has the confidence?
Well, the greenback has got the full faith and credit of the United States federal government, and it is I know people who are totally, their account system, they don't use dollars, they use Bitcoin.
Right.
For everything. They do not transact in US dollars at all. That is not realistic for me personally, but I like the idea of having some sort of diversified. I think honestly, this is part of our diversification, and I just want to understand it because we really hadn't gotten to the technology of this. But the technology of blockchain, of which Bitcoin was the first currency to be produced, it's going to be like the search engines were in the 1990s. It is the future.
Yeah. Well, and I'm asking you these questions because if you're investing your own money, your own time, your own effort into this, I want your opinion on how you feel as well, not just the how data shows it, because I think about the confidence and the debt. We've been in debt up and down. I think our money system is peculiar in the United States for sure. There's a lot of moving parts to it. There's a lot of people that have their fingers in it. And the concept of having a free money system essentially is mind-boggling to me. It's just mind-boggling that there's nobody in charge of it other than individuals. How do you regulate it? How do you get in?
So this is basically, Bitcoin is basically a computer program that runs. It basically is going to record our transactions, but all these computers, I've got these little orange blocks up here. They're supposed to represent different computers. They're trying to come up with a number. And this is number, from math, if you remember 2 and then to the exponent, it's 2 to the 256. There's more possible solutions than there are atoms in the universe.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. And so it's insanely secure. So that makes me feel good.
Okay.
So if you wanted to get into Bitcoin, then you kind of need to understand that these computers are all trying to basically come up with that random number, and whoever comes up with that random number gets a Bitcoin reward.
That's the mining part?
That's the mining part. And then miners have expenses because they use a lot of electricity. So they sell some of their Bitcoin, and then people that don't mine can then buy it on exchanges.
That's what
such as Coinbase.
Ask. So if you buy you a Bitcoin, you're buying it from somebody that's got the mines.
Right. Or a miner, for example, with the partnership that I'm in, we have 22 miners up in New York State, and they are mining Bitcoin. They do not mine a ton of Bitcoin. I am not getting filthy rich off this at all. It's more of a learning experience, and my partners wanted to learn more about this as well.
So do you buy Bitcoins just like the stock market? If Walmart stock falls out to $2 a share, I'm going to run out there and buy me about 100 shares of it?
Sure, you can do it that way.
So like right now, I guess if you were going to be a Bitcoin investor, you need to go out and put a couple in your pocket if you could.
Now, with the price being low, if that's what you want to do, it's personally, I find it a great time to buy. And the nice thing is, we're used to buying or denominating everything in dollars and cents. 1.00. Well, a Bitcoin can be subdivided into 100 million places.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a
and
lot
so
of
you don't have to
divisions.
buy a Bitcoin. You can buy
A sliver.
a very small amount
A very
of
little
Bitcoin.
itty bitty sliver.
And there are companies that are now that do this to help you do dollar cost averaging. Let's say you want to put in $50 a week, or much less. And so there are ways to do that. Another great way to get Bitcoin is to offer a service for somebody and say, "Will you pay me in Bitcoin?" And that's something that I'm curious as to helping people kind of develop.
Similar, that would be. Is that a transaction that would happen on, for say, Venmo, or would you have a certain app, or do you have to go to a computer terminal? How do you get that?
You could do it on from cell phone to cell phone.
Cell phone to cell phone?
Yes. And actually, if you go to some places like El Salvador and other countries, they are starting where, believe it or not, in about, I think it's 5 months, El Salvador passed a law and said, hey, Bitcoin will be legal tender here. Funny, also with the U.S. dollar.
Get to where you could just transfer like this, like handshake to handshake?
For Bitcoin?
For Bitcoin. Like
that quick?
That quick.
Probably with the Lightning Network. So, and that's something else that we can talk about. But Walmart, McDonald's, and Starbucks in El Salvador got to where they could transact as fast as they could with Visa within 5 months.
Wow.
And if that can happen down there, it can happen anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
We're just not there yet. And I love to subscribe to some news for Bitcoin so that I can see where it's going on, where there's various luxury folks that take Bitcoin as payment, as well as BlackRock, $10 trillion in assets that they manage.
Who consumes Bitcoin? If you were to categorize it by age, socioeconomic, is it more accepted in certain age groups? Is it more accepted in certain areas, and specifically here in the United States? I mean,
we're probably on the upper age end, us at this table. It's probably mostly younger generations. Younger. And when I talk about this in my class, I like to use a lot of examples, and I'll bring Bitcoin into talking about geology and stuff like that, and students will light up, and they cannot imagine.
You're talking about money.
I'm talking about money, but they know it because they've bought it on Robinhood and other apps, and their friends have known about it forever, and it's not new to them.
Well, Robinhood, like take from the rich.
Well, Robinhood, the app, right? Yeah.
Give to the poor.
Were a gambling sort of fella, being the market on the Bitcoin is so volatile, you could probably prosper pretty well with the right. I mean, catch it low, sell it high.
A lot of people have tried that, but you think about the same people that do that with stocks. It's hard to do. You might get lucky. I know I've heard of people getting lucky trading cryptocurrencies and stuff like that.
Really, you don't look at it like an investment then.
I do personally.
Okay, so an investment, because that's kind of where I was thinking. You said not in trading stocks, but more just in currency.
But no, I look at it as an investment that will grow because adoption right now is so low. But as adoption increases, the beauty of Satoshi's model is there's only 21 million Bitcoin ever. Now you can subdivide it on out,
which that's like 83% of all the Bitcoin that will exist has already been circulated. So we're only the mining and what's out there available. There is a definite number.
There's an end to it.
There's an end to it, that blows my mind too. How is it just one of those things?
Our federal government at one point in time, our federal government was limited by the amount of gold and silver it could have to create money.
Yeah,
we've just gotten away from that.
Yeah, we just said instead of going out there and
doing the work,
we're
just gonna make money.
Yeah, are we just assuming that the gold is out there in the Rocky Mountains?
No. I mean, there's only in Fort Knox, supposedly there's $600 billion worth of gold.
They got gold and go in there. They actually have it in there.
Supposedly, I hadn't been there. And they do have some out in towards Denver too, I believe, and New York.
Yeah.
So if I was lucky and I went out and took my little track on, I mined up 21 million Bitcoins.
Yep.
What's that work? I mean, how can I make value out of that? I still can't grasp that part of it.
The value.
How you mine it?
If I had them all, if I had all of them.
Okay. Well,
I'm sure somebody's trying to figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
but
the way greed works.
Yeah. The problem is the Bitcoin, let's say that I have, it is limited. I mean, you can't get a hold of that.
That's my problem right there.
So
what you just said.
So as adoption increases and more people use it to buy more stuff, then the lack of supply will create demand, which will drive price. And again, in the beginning, the Bitcoin was worth less than a cent per Bitcoin, and people kept using it and kept finding reasons to use it.
You know what? I think of whenever I was doing some research, and you said that about, buying it for a cent. I think about hacking, and I go to the movie Superman 3 and that whole concept of just wanting to trim pennies off. Do you remember that with Richard Pryor, Superman 3? And then they ran through that in the movie Office Space, where they were going to go in and steal money by just getting like the rounding errors off, like little fractions of fractions. Yeah. So I think about how that security works. Of course, I get it. You can divide by billions and billions and billions and billions, but that's why we invented the computer, was to do math and to do things rapidly, fast, and the software evolves and the hardware evolves so fast. We think about where we are in technology, and these are just 10 years old, and it's almost as if we can't think in terms of how much farther back it was, but technology has evolved to where the technology, they say, well, even from our high school calculators, that were graphing calculators, was as much computing power that you put out the astronauts to the moon and everything. So the security and the hacking, I don't know, that's just where I think about is that movie and being able to go in and get it. And I go ahead.
Well, the nice thing about Bitcoin is it is secure, and you've got to, in order to take over, and basically you could say, hey, this is a different blockchain. This is the real one, the one that I made up. But in order to do that, I have to be able to control 51% of all the computers out there. That's impossible. There's not enough computing power in the world.
So
now back in 2010, you probably could have done it.
So the computing powers outrun any hope of manufacturing.
Well, the fact is, you've got millions of computers that we know of running the Bitcoin.
But nobody
blockchain.
could ever, flip that switch. Because that's the notion beside that is that there's no.
I would get worried if they actually produce a quantum computer. I would be a little concerned. That's a little, but I ain't worried about that. Anytime soon.
That brings me to this thing I read here from, and I know you read stuff on the internet, but this comes from Bloomberg, so I'm saying it
even
might be
more weary.
Yeah, or, I don't know. But anyway, it says in the late spring of, and we're talking about mining, and it says China banned all Bitcoin mining as a part of a crackdown on crypto in the country.
Yes.
So what's that all about?
So China has banned crypto and Bitcoin mining several times for a variety of different reasons, partially for freedom purposes, partially because they see they do in China prior to the banning of mining, they were mining with a lot of the power was coming from coal burning. That's not the case here in the United States and most of the other places. And actually, the fact that China banned mining was the best thing in the world for Bitcoin. And actually, it's the best thing in the world for the United States because China could have potentially tried to control it a little bit more, but they drove hundreds of thousands of miners out of China to other places. Most of them landed in Texas and in other places in the United States.
Me on to the next. I mean, I wonder if old Satoshi Naka whatever's hanging out down in Dallas or something.
It's pretty hot down there.
Well, he ain't supposed to be over there. I mean, because it said it said Texas offered a relaxed approach on regulations, and they had a unique power grid and attractive energy prices.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
but then later on, it talks about how pretty much the energy, the power grid that they had wouldn't sustain the stuff. They had power outages
well, that was partially because of the intense weather scenarios that they had there, but at the same time, any power grid problems that Texas had was not due to Bitcoin, and we can talk about this here in a minute, but Bitcoin actually, and I think Terry can talk about this from BPU if he wants to, but Bitcoin is actually very good for the power grid, and it's very good for producers because it allows them to keep rates low for us and have a big user somewhere so that if they need power, they can say, turn off. And they have this arrangement for most Bitcoin mining operations so that they can power down. So all that base load is now available for during cold snaps, so to heat, or hot periods so that you can run your AC.
Well, that's pretty cool, Ben. I live like real close to where one was fixing to be.
Yeah.
You hear that?
It's
Sounds
time for
like money.
Hey.
That's all we've been talking about. It's money. It's time for the. Here we go. The inflation buster. Just perfect timing. Talking about that electricity up and those power bills up. And, you call right now, 731-227-2451. Be caller number 6, and you will be the winner of a $100 bill thanks to Landmark Realty.
And I will gladly trade these three for that one. 3-1.
Are
That's
you sure
pretty,
that one was like 20,000 or something, or 2,000 something?
Yeah, but I ain't sure.
2 million? What does that say?
2 mil.
2,000? You would trade that? You know what that is? How much is it?
I don't know. I ain't got a clue, man.
Well, it might be worth.
Does that even belong to you?
That may be 3
Wait,
Bitcoins.
that doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about,
Okay.
Stan. Whether it belongs to him or not. Come on, we were talking about the federal government and everything a while ago. Belonging.
I thought we was sharing. He passed it on down. You get
You're going to pass it back
Yeah.
eventually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what is this worth? 2 mil.
I don't know. I could look it up. I don't think it was much. It was not much.
They just make you feel good over there. You got 2 mil.
And that's what's interesting
Really
is
can't buy 3
that's
pieces of
Costa
bubble
Rican
gum with
money. They'd rather have U.S. dollars.
Okay.
A lot of places would rather have U.S. dollars.
Yeah.
What will be interesting is the countries that eventually decide that U.S. dollars aren't their preferred currency and they'd rather do something else.
Which is happening or happened. Wasn't that a big thing that whenever Trump came into office, he was going over there to China to regulate or to try to strong arm the value of the Chinese currency, because the Chinese
depress it artificially.
they artificially manipulate their money supply. I mean, I don't know that we don't artificially manipulate, but they publicly on the open market modify the valuation. Is that right? Something like that.
I don't
it was
know,
something
to be
like
honest.
that. Yeah. So I guess that kind of goes into the concept of the valuation, but
We
looks
have a
like
winner.
we do have a winner. Go ahead. We do have a winner, so we're going to be getting that winner online, and we're going to find out who we got. Somebody that has called in and won that $100 from Landmark Realty.
So while we're waiting on her to get on here, what about? I mean, they tried to start what they called one world currency with the euro.
Okay.
Okay, what's the difference in what they were trying to do there as a
good
in
question.
comparison with what the Bitcoin's doing?
The euro, again, it was the European Central Bank, just like our Fed. And so you got a group of core people, just this group of people that are making all the decisions for everybody else associated with the euro over in Europe. And so, that would be, personally, that would be a problem. Then they're making the central decisions as far as what are interest rates, how much money are we going to print, et cetera. So I like the decentralized part of the Bitcoin. And maybe it's not there yet to be a global currency. The thing is, this didn't need any marketing. This didn't need any government approvals or seed money or anything like that. This got started organically. And
it's really amazing how it got started. We got our inflation buster on the line. Looks like Miss Heather Caskey. Heather, you there?
Yes, sir.
All right. How are you?
Good, and you?
We're doing great. You're talking live here on the Mike Weatherford Show with myself, Patrick Smith, and we've got Mr. Tater Hayes here and Mr. Stan Dunagan.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I've been
Thanks for calling in.
listening to the show
and listening.
It sounds really interesting about the Bitcoin for sure.
What do you think about Bitcoin?
Right.
What's your opinion on Bitcoin?
Thank you.
Hey, whoa. Hey, what's your opinion on Bitcoin?
It's interesting. I definitely want to check into it a little more, but it sounds interesting.
Yeah. Well, enjoy that $100 bill that you're getting. They're going to have the details for you on that.
Heather, what do you think? Maybe we could get Ricky Ward to pay us in Bitcoins if we find this money?
Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
That's pretty good. I'll take 3, you know.
Me too. I'm not going to be greedy. I'll just take 1.
Yeah. Well,
congratulations.
Congratulations, Heather.
But you guys have a great night, and thank you.
You too. Thank
too.
you. So
Thank you.
That's Heather, won the Inflation Buster presented by Landmark Realty. And yeah, she can go and invest. How much would that be in Bitcoin? 0.00000? How many?
I don't know. I just multiply that times.
Might
So
be
like the metric
might
system.
be different tomorrow. Probably is, but check it about 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. So the interesting thing is you've got countries like Russia and China, and they produce a lot of commodities.
Mm-hmm.
They stockpile titanium, iron ore, gold. Their debt ratios are much smaller than the United States and most of the European countries. And one thing that Russia learned once they invaded the Ukraine was the United States will nuke you financially. And so we said whatever gold that they owned in New York, we said, no, you can't have access to it. Their reserves of U.S. dollars, we said, no, you can't have access to it. And I'm not, maybe that's right, maybe that's wrong. I'm not getting into that. But what we've learned, countries have learned is, crap, if I make the United States mad, I better not invest in U.S. treasuries. That could be a problem. And so they are actively looking at producing their own versions of this. China has actually rolled out, I don't know if
Is it the problem? That's where I go back to about the United States being in debt. And I was joking about we need to go and invade another country. We can be good sports on the world stage. Some of these countries, they want to manipulate the market. They want to stockpile natural resources. They want to cut off other natural resources. They want a pipeline. They want something somewhere else so that they can interfere. But don't we have a military? And that seems like that's where we invest our resources. The bulk of our national budget goes to that. So we stockpile, as you I think alluded to, nuke, but we do it by force, and that seems to work right now in terms of the value and people taking our currency. I don't think it's all goodwill and everything.
So, but if you look at our debt, I don't think that's working.
But my point is I think that we'll just, at some point, if somebody ever says, hey, we're going to evict you,
Yeah.
I think that America has set the world stage to say, no, you won't evict us from anywhere. And that's just a perspective that I have on where the value, how we maintain the value with all the debt.
I agree. I think
the spending. I mean, because you can't do it. You cannot do the math and value out to the penny. Or as we're talking about like Bitcoin, you can say this has the value. Here's why the value's there. The value of $1 is pretty manipulated, I would think. and how it's backed, and so on and so on and so on. You can't really point to it other than say it's our economy. But.
So I guess what my concern is with the U.S., let's say, dollar system. I mean, this is something that we set up after World War II, and we said, hey, everybody, your debts will denominate them in U.S. dollars, whether it's Poland buying something from Argentina, whatever. Mm-hmm. And at some point, people are going to get tired of that. And they're going to look for other options, and people are looking for other options. And I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm saying that's something that's going down, and they're looking at a whole range of ways, especially countries that we don't tend to get along with.
The mining part, I think.
That's what I was going to say. Let's talk about the mining part. We already know we're in debt.
Yep. Yeah. Let's see how we can get more of it so that we can get out of debt.
Maybe we can get the president to buy some Bitcoins.
Buy some Bitcoins or buy some mining, or how do we do that? I mean, you were out there, weren't you? You got somewhere. You went and looked at a mine.
I've got some pictures of one that's being built right here in Henry County. Yeah,
Henry County. We got them up right here. This is what a Bitcoin mining facility under construction looks like.
Keep in mind now, this is not anywhere near complete.
Mm-mm. Yeah, so they would be putting it in each of those little metal cabinets, and you see the little fan louvers, and so those would raise up. So because these things run on each mine, or each computer runs on 220 volts, and each one draws about 3,200 watts.
3,200 watts.
And they are blowing hot air to keep that fan cool because...
There's a picture of the fan there.
Okay, yeah, that's going to be the main one to clear out the heat that's going to build up inside. So, like my mine,
they're working hard.
they are literally. Yeah. Some of those machines are going to be at 90 degrees Celsius.
Who is it? Chinese people that are doing the mining? What is that? Mind your head. What?
Most of your miners are made in Asia.
So we're okay.
There was a lot
which
of
is weird.
In there. A lot of, nearly all the stickers and writing in there has.
Looks like that.
Squiggly lines.
And we're not.
That's just in one of the control rooms. There's two different types out there, and I'm not necessarily sure exactly what each one does. But these look like they probably do a lot of turning on and off. Although it's got room for several computers in these little compartments here. So I mean, and it's all you can see right here. See those racks? Those are racks, and each one of those racks has got a plug. And they've already got a data cable run to it already. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be solid full of computers.
Now, I don't know the exact size, but the ones that I talked to somebody else about investing in one of these, and each one of those would draw about 1 megawatt worth of power.
Each mine or
each container.
Each container
could put in enough miners to pull 1 megawatt of power.
Wow. So one container, and I was just thinking back on the math, 32 computers or 32 watts.
3,200 watts.
3,200 watts, per mine. And then, so one, what would you call that?
See those right there?
Those
are transformers.
Right.
Those are, but what were the containers? What was there a technical term for that? Or just like a group of them? And it was 1 megawatt.
They called them different things. They had ones that were kind of what I would call a standard container, like an 18-wheeler length that they would pull up and just drop, and then they had some shorter containers too.
Yeah. Huh. The short ones are the ones that got the little control panels in them.
Yeah.
Those transformers that they were just showing are like the size of a dumpster.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's what they look like.
Because
that's
like
just
dumpsters.
3. There's like 8 or 9 more they hadn't got yet.
Yeah.
And so the idea is that they're looking for places that have extra base load, extra electricity. And so BPU can sell to them, and Terry can correct me if I'm wrong, but BPU, that's a great customer to sell power to.
Sure.
And so that in the summer, if it gets really hot and he's getting close to how much ever power his max, then he can go to them and say, power down or turn off or whatever. And then that's power available to other residential customers. So it's really a win-win as far as that goes, to have these facilities that are available.
That stuff like on the picture on the right, that's filters.
for air. So it's got to say,
that filter the air as it's coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So the cool thing is a lot of these are literally air cooled, but there's new ones that have tubes that water will go through the computer itself to keep it cool. Now those are super expensive.
Somebody told me when I started going out here and kind of watching this that these were actually nearly outdated because they've already got liquid cooled things where the computers are submerged in oil.
Yeah, you can do that, or again, the tubes running around there to basically have some heat exchange. And there's people that'll set up and do home mining, excuse me, that and try to then use the heat exhaust for warming up hot water or something.
Now, David, how'd you get those pictures? Was this espionage? Is this international espionage?
No, a local contractor has leased the property to them.
Okay.
And he's doing the work out there. For the people that are doing the mining, and I just asked him if I could go.
Where are they from? Do you have any?
I don't know.
Is it a local person, a local entity that set this up?
I haven't met those people. I've just met the local guy, and like I said, he's just doing the work. And I mean, the local electric contractors are out there. Mm-hmm. So I haven't met that guy, the guy that actually owns them yet.
Yeah. So the 1 megawatt. I'm just going back to thinking. Is there a concept of, if you were just a guess, what is there? How much money would 1 megawatt of power consumption be able to turn around and generate in Bitcoin? What's the trade-off ratio?
I don't know that off the top of my head. If I had my phone, I might could calculate it and look it up. But there's some calculators online, excuse me, where you put in your miner machine, you input how much it's computing, and then it'll tell you how much you're generating in Bitcoin, and it, based on the current price, so you'll know how much you're making, and then how many of these machines you can put in one of these units.
I was thinking about.
It's pretty impressive. Rumor has it. Don't quote me on this. And Terry can probably answer this. I've heard it that they're going to use between $650,000 and $750,000 worth of electricity a month.
600. I'm just there. There has to be a return on investment.
Divide that number by 200, and that'll give us roughly how many machines that is.
Divide by 200 is 3,500 machines.
I bet you could put about 1,000 machines in each of those suckers.
Yeah, so
something like that. Maybe.
Yeah.
There's I can't remember. I counted them the other day, but I forgot how many there was. Now, there's so many of the one type, and there's so many of the other type.
Sure.
And the big long ones will hold like nearly twice as much as the other ones will.
Are we? Is that just turning electricity into money? Is that what that's doing? I mean, when you think of it on a big scale,
you're looking at your work is your energy that and that has a certain value. And the same thing with electricity. In the United States, we have plenty of electricity. In some places, at some times, and you might as well capitalize on it. It's in many places, let's say in North Dakota or parts of Texas, you've got all this flare gas that oil companies and gas companies are just burning off, just laying it off into the atmosphere.
Because when you're using electricity to grab it, then you have to use electricity to store it.
But not much on storing.
Not much, but you have to, and then be able to power it back up somehow through some sort of a device. That part's minimal.
The big thing is the mining.
The mining part.
And that's where you get a lot of the environmental bad press. And people will say, you're literally killing the planet. You're going to murder polar bears and stuff like that.
I don't see where anything like that could happen right there. I mean, and I'm always usually anti that sort of thing, but I don't see where they could. I don't see anything out there from what I've seen so far that would be damaging.
Well, it's not that, but you think about energy consumption.
Sound may be.
There is significant sound pollution associated with it.
You're taxing the energy grid by mining out of the energy that we use. It's kind of like it's kind of like we did with corn.
I wouldn't say taxing.
It's kind of like we did corn. We took corn out of the food supply and put it into our cars. It's a similar thing. We have an abundance of
a
corn,
commodity or a resource.
A resource, and that's what it is. We've taken a resource that we either create or can capture, and it's figured out a way to turn into
But
money.
in most cases, that corn would have gone to feed or something. It wouldn't have just been left to rot.
It wouldn't. That's
Oftentimes,
true. It wouldn't be
this
left to rot.
electricity is
That's
literally.
right. The water is
it
going to
has no
continue
use.
to go over the
You
falls.
can't put electricity in a bucket. You can put corn in a bucket. So you're not really storing. You're not using anything out of a. But I mean, it's right beside the substation. So,
And so
that's,
there's
that's
not
one of the
loss.
reasons.
Yeah,
why.
well, yeah, right. There's less the closer you can get.
And there's 2 3-phase lines, what I call 3-phase. I'm just using bulldozer terminology in electricity, but I mean it's going to be a big pull, but I don't necessarily know that it's going to be. I don't think it's going to hurt.
Right.
I mean, yeah, it's not like you're pulling it out of the silo and tomorrow they're going to be empty.
Right.
You know,
that is true. And if it was an industry where they were making something and like pencils there, they would have a pull on the power grid, but there would be a benefit, and it would be a tangible benefit that everybody could see, and they could point back to it and say, that's what we spent that energy on. This way, whenever you're pulling the energy out of a public utility like that, in order to do it and turn it straight into money, that's kind of, you're not pulling it, you're using excess.
They're paying though, just like you are. I mean, they're going to be paying. I mean, they've already paid a huge amount of down payment
to cover
the BPU just to put. I mean, the BPU's not running all that over there just for nothing.
No.
You know, I mean, they're not.
They are certainly. There is a. It's not free by any stretch of the imagination. There's a cost associated with creating it and investing in the infrastructure, which most of us aren't going to be doing that. I think a lot of people are interested in how they can do their own mining and what that would do.
I'm probably pretty sure that they're not going to want the electric to be more per kilowatt hour than anybody else is.
So, but if I wanted to mine at home, I don't have 650,000 or whatever.
No, all you need is a 220 outlet that can handle the right breaker load, and you could do that. The problem is it is loud. These miners, the fan is going often at 6,000 RPM. And so you're going to want to have that someplace so that the sound's taken care of in the heat. But the nice thing about mining is at home, and people do this, is that it's a way in which you don't have to go on an exchange to buy Bitcoin. You will get paid for the energy that you put in. You'll get an electric bill. Your electric bill will go up. It costs about $200 per month for our miners up in New York. And their electric rates are not as cheap as the ones down here.
Yeah,
and we tried to get some mines in our area, but we could not do that, unfortunately.
Do you have to have constant power?
Yes.
So you have to have power that's reliable. You have to do it in a country, in an area that has very reliable power.
Sure. A good grid system, and then a good just infrastructure. For example, we've kind of had a problem with 6 of our miners up in New York, and they're constantly throwing a breaker. And so literally almost every 3 or 4 hours, I'm checking and getting to fix
out
that.
There at Mike Weatherford's house, the power goes out all the time because he's right down the road from me.
That's next week's show, man.
So I'm thinking about the power and the constant energy and offsetting it with other forms of energy. I mean, you can bring this in with any energy source as long as it's constant. So, for instance, solar.
You can do that.
Why are they not going with solar?
Man,
they can't store it?
People can try to sell you on that. You take that little truck stop like you're going to Memphis.
Yeah.
Look how many solar panels it takes to run that little bitty building.
But the technology
it would take
increases.
half of Henry County where the solar panels to pull that.
I agree. I think this needs to be the base load because really in this country we need to invest in base load because we're going to have all these electrical vehicles and they can't always plug in to a wind or solar grid. They need to have base load, whether it's nuclear, natural gas, or whatever. And this is another way for utility companies to monetize their base load so that they always have a certain level. And then they can stack solar and wind on top. But if you don't have a base load, then you're going to be out of luck when it gets really hot or really cold and the sun ain't shining.
But that same utility company is not going to guarantee the constant power. You're going to have to invest at wherever you receive your power, for instance, at your house. Because we're talking about if I wanted to go out and do it myself at my house, I would have to put a generator or something out there to keep that power constant? And because if it goes out, do I lose my Bitcoin?
No, you don't lose your Bitcoin. It's just your miner's not operating. It's not doing the calculations to hopefully come up with a solution for you to get Bitcoin. The thing is also, you by yourself, you're going up against millions of miners.
Okay.
And so you don't want to go up against that. So what we tend to get in pools. And so we'll mine together in a big group. And so I've got a group of several thousand miners that our group mines with, and then we get a proportion of the Bitcoin that the group wins.
Okay. So you pull together.
Right.
Okay.
But there are people that mine at home
solo.
That's and they occasionally get lucky. And if you get the Bitcoin reward, is 6.25 Bitcoin. So it's like $122,000+.
I was thinking about mining and trying to relate mining to what we think about mining or what we visualize about mining. And I was thinking dangerous work, explosions, there's mishaps. Usually it's something that's performed by slaves, or it's performed by people that are chasing some sort of a dream. And that dream always seems to be like the mother lode, or, for the people that want to go out, and just get it. And that's not the way this mining works. It's just a constant.
Well, if you go out to Colorado, there are gold mines, and it's work. They've got giant machinery, they got a big investment, and they've got to really work that powdered gold. And they will process hundreds of tons to get a couple ounces of gold. It's a lot of work, and that's the same thing with Bitcoin. It operates on a proof of work that we've done the calculation, that you've produced the blockchain, that you can look at it and verify that it's there. And that's very different from other cryptocurrencies. And that's what makes it unique.
I don't see, just for me, I still don't understand the whole concept of it. I mean, I pretty much knew when I came in here I wasn't going to understand completely all of it. But I do think it's probably good for our economy right here in local Paris, Tennessee. Not that they are going to hire maybe 5 or 6 employees. I think they're mainly going to be security guards, probably more so than anything.
But it is an investment. It's a definite investment.
I can't see any, just by watching it, I can't see where it's going to hurt us. I mean, like I say, you got somebody that's always good on a utility. When you've got somebody like that does use a lot, it kind of keeps the rates down for the rest of us.
Hey, Kevin, do you have the one with the circles on it? I think it may be 11. And so,
what about I want to bring up the government,
actually,
but go ahead. Let's see what you got.
Hey, what about the other one? It's got the yellow circles, and it has like Bitcoin in the middle. I'm sorry if it was. It may
there
be
you
10.
go.
Yeah. So the big thing that people talk about is the bad aspect of all the energy that's used. And so on the far right, that big yellow one says AC, and then you see Bitcoin in proportion. They're in red. And so you've got, if I can read this with my glasses on, Bitcoin, when you hear about all the environmental bad stuff.
It's not a terrible amount of energy.
No.
Comparatively speaking to your, your fridge is usually a lot of times we think of that as being our most energy heavy.
The banking industry in the U.S. uses much more energy than Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And they and all their data centers and stuff like that. So again, does Bitcoin use a lot of energy? Yes. Is it going to kill the planet? Absolutely not.
I don't think so. And the thing of it is with the Bitcoin thing, why they're going to use so much on your so much of a bill, it's all consolidated. Whereas like what he's talking about, banks using and all their data centers, they're spread out over everywhere. Sure. And
even bank data centers, like what they've got for their servers and stuff like that, is much more energy intensive than Bitcoin.
Is this why you think this is why the government hired 87,000 insurance agents or whatever to go
IRS
IRS insurance IRS agents to go out and see if they can break in or find where Stan Dunagan's not paying taxes or
Stan Dunagan pays all the taxes that are due. I can promise you that.
Of course, we all do, but that somebody's not, obviously, and this is one of those
supposedly
things.
the threshold, was some number, and I was way below that threshold.
I want to know where they found 87,000 people that would work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
They gave him a gun and
a badge.
And a badge. So and said, you can go shake people down for money. So that sounds like a fun thing. But the government is not a part of these transactions.
Well, and that's part of the centralization. With the whole U.S. dollar monetization apparatus, you've got to have a military to back it up. You've got to have IRS agents to come get it. And then you've got to have Congress that can just say, I'm going to spend whatever I want. And this is not the last three presidents. This is going back to the 1980s.
Yeah.
This is not a Republican or Democratic thing. It is Congress, and politicians have not been able to control themselves for decades. And now we're in a heck of a mess.
Do you think your projection on governments around the world adopting Bitcoin, what's your, as just as much legal tender as everything, how far out do you think it'd be in your estimate?
So I think it'll be the poorest and the smallest countries at first, because they have the least to lose by switching over. I think the U.S. and the European Union with the euro will survive the longest monetarily with their system. Excuse me. There's a neat article that just came out saying Japan will be the first industrialized nation that'll switch.
I could see that, because
they are so far in debt. They are so. I mean, they've got their yield curve pegged. They buy all their own bonds. And they are
that's currency manipulation, isn't it? I mean, how do you back that up?
What might happen here? I mean, I guess in the beginning, our American dollar was based off gold.
It was based off commodities and work,
and you have this. So what's going to happen when the Bitcoins outrun the 21 million that they've got? Kind of like we've outrun the gold that we've got.
So the beauty on how that will be dealt with is the fact that there are 100 million divisions of a Bitcoin. So we may find that if you own a half a Bitcoin, you're still rich, because you have that'd be 50 million Satoshis.
I'm an engineer and I don't do math. I try not to. I use it for other parts of my brain.
The question has come up: why in the heck did he choose 21 million? And so there have been people that have come up with all these explanations and theories around that. But one of the things was, at the time in 2008, there was basically $21 trillion in debt out there, and that was a number that if you do 21 million times another 100 million, that you got about to the right monetization of global debt.
How big of a system is the United States building right now to suck up as fast as possible that remaining 17% of Bitcoin so that they can dominate the world market?
I don't know.
They've got to be somewhere. There is an installation somewhere that is got its own nuclear power generator that is just generating Bitcoin. Has to. Why would you not?
I would.
If it's gonna become the standard,
well, the problem
wouldn't you want
is,
to try to dominate? Because somehow you've got to get it out of somebody's wallet and into your wallet, out of these miners' wallets into the national reserve.
So a nuclear power plant is going to cost you a couple billion. I just buy a couple $1 billion worth of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And then let that appreciate in value, and then you've got
if you have 17%, you're going to have more than old Sasha Oto dude that nobody knows where he's at.
Satoshi.
Or what if you? Could you ever get 51% of it?
No.
It's not mathematically possible.
No.
It's not the Superman 3 dream of ever being able to.
I wish this guy would come out, man.
So I mean, people have said that toward the end they expect. Well, they don't know how old this guy is. They assume, or person, I should say, that he's 40 to 50, basically our age-ish or so, and that at some point in the next 20 or 30 years, he may come back out and move. Or
there's all kind of crazy rumors and speculations about it. I mean, it's pretty interesting to sit there and read, and each one of them have. You think, well, I can see where they're coming with that, or
Well, and the whole encryption method that they use was originally developed, I think, by the National Security Agency, the SHA-256 protocol. That's what they use. And so some people have hypothesized that it's, well, maybe the federal government's behind Satoshi. And it's all a big conspiracy.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I don't really care either way. If the government's around it, I'm going to win. Whoever has Bitcoin is going to win in the end.
How can somebody get in contact with someone like you that represents a Bitcoin mining conglomerate?
Well, I don't necessarily represent a giant conglomerate or anything like that. Our,
Well, it
our,
is.
our
You're-
market capitalization is pretty small.
You're pulling, you're conglomerating people together.
he still lives on Gate 3 Road, dude.
Yeah, that's right. So, there are people in this community that play with Bitcoin. And when I say play with it, they like to learn the technology. I don't mind if people reaching out to me.
Yeah.
And
Reach out to you on Facebook.
Yeah,
They
or
can
something like
search
that.
and find you on
Yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah.
You're a public person. You're out and friendly with most people, I would say.
yeah, and whether it's our we've got a wedding venue, and that's one thing I
Yeah.
started telling customers, and a lot of them have laughed.
Paying Bitcoin?
I said I give them a discount. Now, no one's taking me up on that, but somebody will
Yeah,
at some
somebody
point.
will.
And it's getting comfortable with having that transaction and being able to make some transactions from, let's say, a Coinbase account or a Gemini account or one of these reputable apps, and then learning, well, how do I store it myself? Coinbase is basically like your bank. They've got your Bitcoin, and and hopefully they don't go bankrupt or something.
Oof. We've got
What's that?
A crazy question coming into us from the control room here. Earlier, you were telling us that there was a limited number of Bitcoins.
Yes.
How do we keep mining to get more?
So the amount of Bitcoin decreases basically exponentially or by half every 4 years.
Okay.
And so we will eventually run out of Bitcoin in the year like 2140 or something like that.
I think that's about right.
I'm not going to be here then, I don't think.
Yeah,
And I'm not,
like-
honestly, that sounds crazy. And it's not a dumb question because I get it a lot and I wonder that myself, but it's not something, honestly, that I'm worried about. At some point, well, there are transaction fees. And if Bitcoin becomes, let's say, the global currency or it's one of the dominant global currencies, there are small transaction fees that can be made by miners. That way they can still maintain the security of the network.
We won't be left with we talked about the gold mines in Colorado. We won't be left with those sulfuric acid ponds and that sort of stuff from where they were washing away all the other minerals to get down to the gold. We'll just be left with some hardware,
Right. And you can have, I've got a computer about this big in my basement. Actually, it's smaller than this. And it runs a Bitcoin node. Now, it's not a miner, but I downloaded the Bitcoin protocol on it, and it's running it. It's just keeping the network secure. It was a very cheap, it's like one of the Raspberry Pi computers.
Yeah.
I don't know if like that. It was easier to set up than my laptop.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you're interested in something like that and setting it up, then you can actually set up some other ways in which you can kind of, at some point, generate some transaction fees. It'll be small, though.
Is it something that you would get your kids started in? I mean, or
Oh,
grandkids?
yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
how do
yeah.
do you buy them like that? And like used to, whenever somebody was born, they'd get what was it, a bond or something.
Yeah.
You can just go somewhere and invest in it in their name.
Yeah.
And start their own Bitcoin.
You could do something like that, or you could set up a wallet or a separate wallet within your own wallet. My son and my daughter both, when they got paid at a job last summer, and they gave me the money, and they said they wanted Bitcoin. So I bought some Bitcoin with that, and then I noted the amount.
And they have been entered into the registry.
Yes, and so they've got their own wallet. They own some Bitcoin.
They are part of the network.
You know what that's
now.
called?
You think he'd give us something? We called him Dad.
I think so.
Do you remember the movie The Matrix?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So red pill, blue pill.
Yeah, that's where we're at, right?
So Bitcoin is the orange pill.
The orange pill.
So you make the leap where you get away from, you start to think about those dollars are cheap.
Yeah.
And you have a cheap savings mindset. But with Bitcoin, because you know there's always going to be less and less and less, then you start to get a savings mindset. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something this country could use.
That's
or at least
a good point.
A lot of people could use, or at least our congressional leaders could use.
That's a real good point.
Is there something you can tell us that we haven't asked? You know, because when you're the expert on something, you don't, you probably got information that we probably ain't even thought about asking that would be.
So for me, getting back to the security and some of the hacking stuff that you expressed, exchanges are where there's a hack. If you hear that Bitcoin is hacked, Bitcoin is not necessarily hacked, but somebody's wallet got hacked, just like your wallet got stolen. So for me, from a security perspective, I'm very confident in Bitcoin itself. You can keep it on Coinbase, or you can keep it digitally on your own wallet. And there's actually some on your phone, or you could actually keep it in what's called cold storage, where it's actually unplugged offline, and you've got Bitcoin, somewhere in a safe. There's lots of options with Bitcoin, and again,
we got a graphic there.
Yes, thank you, sir.
What the wallet or where to go.
This is going to kind of seem like the opposite, but a custodial wallet would be something like Gemini or Coinbase, if you've heard of those apps that could you run on your Android or Apple device. And so on a custodial wallet, somebody owns your keys, or somebody has your keys, and it shows that you have so much Bitcoin. Whereas if you have a non-custodial wallet, you custody your own keys. You're responsible usually for like a 12 or a 24 word phrase.
Wow.
If you lose that,
you can never get amnesia. You've lost your
right. You could potentially
you need to trust that to someone very
something. And there's services now developing where I have it, a trusted third party has it, and then maybe
me.
A third person.
You see that? Person. I'm the trusted third party.
But only two people together have to be able to sign off to get the Bitcoin. So there's a lot of solutions out there to, let's say, security and custody of stuff.
You and I are now. I have access. Me and Stephanie has access to. Wow. I'm one of the trusted people. Well, I appreciate you coming on,
Stan.
This was fun. This was fun. It was very informative. We got to set in here and find out a lot about Bitcoin, a lot of misinformation, a lot of things told to us a little bit plainer, a little bit better, and I appreciate all the information, Stan, and I want to dive into this a little more with you and find out more about Bitcoin, because I can see it's something that I'm not familiar with, and I would say I agree. People that are 50 and up, I mean, they're familiar, but it's not as prevalent as the younger people. So more information,
and it takes a while.
Yeah.
I mean, first time you hear about it, you're skeptical. This has got to be a scam. Later on, you may say, there's something to this. And then later on, you might be gambling because you're putting money into places where you really don't know and you don't understand the projects. And then later on, you're like, oh my gosh, the math behind this, I don't want to say perfect, but it makes so much more sense.
You make it sound,
it's elegant.
Yeah, I'm convinced. Hey, I want to thank you, Tater, for being up here and giving me somebody to lean on tonight. You were a guinea pig tonight for being my co-host, and man, I do appreciate you being here. You gave me a world of confidence just being here beside me.
Well, I'm glad to be here. I've been as curious about about this as anybody has been. I'm still trying to figure out how to get it in my back pocket, but
I can show you.
I bet you can.
But I can figure that out. Even with my debit card, I
need
take
about
it,
10 minutes.
I can take it to the bank, and I can turn it into this right here.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it was
It was informative. It was great.
I still don't know everything, but I've learned a lot.
I have to. I want to thank the crew for putting on a good show for us tonight. This show on Bitcoin, and congratulate our winner Heather Caskey on winning that $100 bills from Landmark Realty. And also
GG's, man.
Yeah,
those GG sandwiches. I appreciate those.
They were great. They were.
Yeah, they're
great.
going to open up. They since we opened the show, they have come back and said they're going to open up on September the 5th. So
September the 5th. Hey, look at here. That grab in there. Get some to go. Yeah, bring us a fresh one over here. This one's been under the studio lights. I want turn over here and let me get one.
That's good.
There we go. Hey, I get one of these with wheat bread and looks like some cucumber and
that sauce is good.
some tomatoes. What is that? Vegetarian?
I don't need to be.
It looks
I
good.
don't need to be healthy. Let's eat that bread.
Get that. It's good. That's good. Jenny's.
I'm gonna have to get home and see what my kiddos
right.
are doing, man.
Hey,
They may be buying Bitcoin.
y'all.
They're probably buying Bitcoins.
We're going to have next week. We're going to have Terry Wimberly on, BPU, the director, the head of BPU. We're going to be talking about. Oh, here we go. GG's. There's how you can find them. What'd you say, Tater? When? Oh, I just caught him with putting some more of that delicious GG's in his mouth.
That's it.
September 5th.
Yep.
All right. And next week, we're going to have Terry Wimberly on, and we're going to be talking about this electric bills, and we're definitely going to talk about Bitcoin and the money and everything as well. It's a great lead into that show next week with Terry Wimberly. We'll continue our inflation busters. Also, the following week, we're going to have Mr. Dan Knowles. He is a treasure to have Dan here in this community. He's been working on. He's done portraits. He's a real artist, and we're lucky to have him as part of the community. But he's going to be here talking about banjos and the history of Americana music, I think. And also we'll have Rockin' Randall French as our special guest host. And we'll continue to be giving out the inflation busters. Again, thanks to our winner, Ms. Caskey. And y'all, this weekend, we're going to have ultimate bull riding.
Can't wait.
There we go. Look at it. Look at these guys. Jump. There you go, Tater. Jump. There you go. Bullfighting. Bullfight. Look, they're not fighting. They're losing.
That's bull, all right.
Yeah. Look at him. That's not bull. Look. Go. Get him. Go. Look.
That's insane.
Oh, that is wild. Look at him go. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait.
See that dude's shirt, man? I
You
used to
got
have
one just like
that.
it. You got one?
Patrick,
Oh, me?
Yeah.
No. I figure you got him out there.
No.
We're at y'all's farm out there on K3 Road, jumping
nice
over
and
him.
tame.
Well, that's our show tonight. I want to thank again my guest Stan Dunagan and my good friend Tater Hayes.
Good to be here.
I'm Patrick Smith, coming to you here from Studio B on the Mike Weatherford Show in beautiful downtown Paris, Tennessee. We'll see you next week. Take care.
Hey, don't be late.
Ever.